me, SP, and we have the man behind the blue wall now. And tonight our special guest is Jamie Roberts. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, SB. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm good. I'm glad you came. You're our first comedian.
All
Yay!
right. All right. That's what's up.
So, um, I'm just gonna throw it out there. Where you from?
I'm from Long Island. I'm from Amityville, New York.
So,
I was born in Brooklyn, raised in Long Island. Uh, been around a couple places. Went to school down in Hampton, Virginia. Came back, lived in Jersey. I lived a couple places. But I'm originally from Amityville, Long Island.
so how does all considering all the places that you've lived, how
Mhm.
does that impact the way that you or the topics that you use inside of your comedy?
Well, I do speak sometimes about my upbringing in my comedy, but when you live different places, you get different experiences, you know? So you get to meet different people and you can pull comedy or you can pull life experiences from those places. So,
Mm-hmm.
like living in Jersey City, that which was, two different worlds, it's the other side of the tree. There's always another side of the train tracks. So living in Jersey City was kind of crazy because I was living with my college roommate at the time. We got a townhouse together out there. And when
Mm-hmm.
the people showed us the place, it was immaculate, great. You know what I mean? White
Mm-hmm.
floors, it was great. The day to move in, it was drug addicts everywhere on the streets. I was like, where the hell did y'all come from? They were trying to help us move the furniture in. I was like, yo, we got to move in at night when no one's around to see our furniture and stuff. Because they're going to help us move it in. And then when we go out for work, they're going to help themselves move it out. You know what I mean? But it was, different experiences. It's just living in Harlem.
Uh,
We lived in Harlem. We had a neighbor who it seemed like they had a merengue salsa dancing class every night of the week upstairs. I'm like, yo, fam, does it ever stop? So and it's just different life experiences, man. But you gotta find the funny in it, or it'll drive you crazy. It'll drive
oh
you
yeah,
crazy.
I grew up in San Antonio, so that's like little Mexico.
Little
So,
Havana, right? Yeah. Well,
oh
Mexico.
man, I
Little Tijuana,
understand.
right?
Everybody had a DJ, and it was often a mariachi band somewhere in the mix. And
We got those too. You get a mariachi band on the A train. That's how they rolling up here. They on the train, playing on the train while you trying to sleep before and after work. They playing a live band, five
yeah,
pieces, there, drums, everything. Come on, man. Trying to listen to my music. I ain't want this live entertainment right here. Anyway, but yeah, that's what's going on here in New York. San Antonio, Texas. Texas, where everything is bigger, right? What's the saying? Everything is bigger.
everything, including the amount of COVID.
Oh wow, yeah,
Everything is big in Texas.
yeah, man. Y'all don't even have. I think y'all get shot if you wear a mask out there, right? They shooting people wearing masks out there.
They look at you crazy. It's
Yeah.
different. It's different depending on the area you're in. Because in San Antonio, everybody wears a mask, but
Oh,
San
okay.
Antonio is also a democratic haven in the midst
Oh,
of Republican
Republic land.
insanity.
Right, right. You're
So
absolutely
it's a
right.
little different in San Antonio and Austin. But when you come down to like Dallas, you can
No
forget it.
mask.
Nobody have on mask.
Are you a Dallas Cowboys fan?
No.
No. All right. Do you watch football at all?
Not really. I haven't watched to be completely honest, I haven't watched football since Warren Moon was Dallas's
Warren
quarterback.
Moon? Jesus Christ. You said Warren Moon? That's when they were playing with a pigskin. They didn't even have a leather football. They had a pigskin.
Well,
I
see,
think Warren Moon, at the time, I think Warren Moon was like the only black quarterback in the league or something like
yeah,
that. him and Randall Cunningham, right? It was him and Randall Cunningham. Holy cow, Warren Moon.
Well, see, I was married, and so the guys would come over and watch football, and I cook and
Right, right.
and play dominoes and cards, but I never actually watched the
You never got
game.
into the game. Got you.
Yeah, I know the game. I just, you
Got you.
see two people throw a ball back and forth to each other, you kind of got it.
Right. She said
Like
Warren
to
Moon.
me,
Wow.
football is like watching NASCARs,
Oh
just
no.
running from
Oh
one end of the
no.
world to the
Oh
other, back
no.
and forth,
We
back
ain't
and
gonna do
forth.
that. We ain't gonna do that. I need you. No. We ain't gonna do that. Nope. NASCAR and football is two different worlds.
Just see everybody just going around in a circle
No.
to get to the
No.
same point.
You ain't gonna get me on that one. Nope. That ain't true at all. That ain't true at all. First of
You a
all, you ain't gonna
football
see no.
fan?
First of all, you ain't gonna see black people at a NASCAR event. That's two different worlds right there.
I don't know.
That's two different worlds.
They've been trying to wrangle hip hop artists in there.
Yeah, because it's money. That's why. There's money involved in it. Once the hip hop artists get into it, they know they can get some money out of us. And they, oh yeah, we got a black They do got a black NASCAR driver. I forgot his name. But every time he drive, he get a ticket. I'm like, how come he the only person getting tickets for speeding out here? Everybody's speeding. He getting pulled over. Kind of nonsense. If that ain't racist, I don't know what is. But yeah, he driving with a boot on his car. He got 4 donuts. Everyone else got racing tires. He driving on donuts.
Speeding.
with a spin. With a spin. The only one with a system in his car. Nobody want to hear your music. When he go by. Nobody want to hear that nonsense. Go ahead and turn left, man. Anyway. But yeah, NASCAR ain't for us. It ain't for us. They had some black people trying to skate too. What was it? Hockey? Come on, man. Certain things we just ain't gonna do.
Hey,
It's too cold.
Jamaica got 5 bobsledding teams right now in the
That's
Olympics.
totally different,
Boom.
man. That's totally
Totally
different.
different.
Yeah, that's people trying to earn a visa to get here. I ain't trying to work with them. You know what I mean? That's totally different. You
A
know?
visa.
They trying to get a work visa to come bobsled for the American team. That's what that is right there. You sport your way into the country.
Yeah,
Especially when Trump was
that's
in
normally
office, he
how it
wasn't getting
works.
no visas. Yeah, so but yeah, I love doing this thing that we call comedy, man. I love entertaining. I love the whole process of getting on stage, speaking my mind. It's like therapy to me,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people say that, you gotta find your way about life, in order to understand life. And
Mm-hmm.
the way I see it, I don't allow stress to get to me. I take it out on stage. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we all have stressful situations in our lives, and we have to deal with it. But it's all about how you deal with the stress. It depends on how it's going to make you or break you. You know.
Yeah,
Um,
you have a show that kind of deals with real life topics through comedy.
what is that?
I, don't you have a podcast or something to that effect? I know I read something on your
Oh, you
website
you you
about
were
it.
peeking through bios. That's what you was.
Yeah, I'm nosy. I'm from Texas.
Yeah, yeah. You have
I'm the girl. I'm the woman with the blonde. That's bent right in the middle.
always looking out the window. Who that? Who did? Ain't nobody knock on your door, but you know who got the package. Uh, yeah, I have an organization called Comedy with a Purpose, where we talk about real life situations through
Mm-hmm.
through a comedic tone. You know what I mean? We handle real life situations through comedy. So at the time when we first started it, I was working with New York City. What was it? It was SUNY and CUNY schools. So we were
Mm-hmm.
going. We did about 8 different schools. It was called the One Night Stand Comedy Tour. So it was talking about addressing college kids about safe sex,
Mm-hmm.
and sex is such a taboo conversation for administrators to have with their students. So we introduced the realization and the facts and the statistics through comedy, and
Mm-hmm.
how to protect yourself, and the various cases of what could happen, the circumstances that could arise if you don't protect yourself. And so we did
Mm-hmm.
that through comedy. We hit about, I think it was six or seven schools we did. We even went to the University of Wisconsin with it. And it was dope. It was dope. We did some virtual about COVID,
Mm-hmm.
because COVID is such a big issue that some people believe in, some people don't, which is still crazy to me. I mean, how the hell don't you believe in this?
Yeah.
It's like in your backyard. It's in your pocket. If you put your hand in your pocket without washing, guess what? You got COVID in your pocket. It's in
There
your,
you
it's in
go.
your life. You know what I mean? And you still want to have this, theory that it's fake. It's made up. So, but we address serious issues through comedic explanations, I should say. But it was fun, and the thing about it, the teachers and the administrators actually appreciated it because it kind of alleviated them from having a conversation, you
Oh
know.
yeah.
Um, and this is a conversation that a lot of students need to have when they first get to college, because it's the first time you're away from your parents. You have your own little independence. And, some people want to be fast. Some people want to, not even understand the situations that they could be putting themselves in, and even the dangers that they could be exposing themselves to. So,
Mm-hmm.
it was a good run that we had.
Cool. Uh, when you said you lived in Virginia and you
Hmm.
went to Hampton, what did you study at Hampton?
Oh, I studied accounting. I started off as an electrical engineer major, and after a
Mm-hmm.
semester of that, I was like, "Nah, I'm done with this. That ain't gonna work. It was way too complicated." And then I went to mass media, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna make movies." And then I found out that you don't make no money, and I was like, "You know what? I was good at accounting in high school. Let me see if I could pick that up." I picked up accounting, and I was practicing accounting after I graduated
Mm-hmm.
for 16 years, and then from there I went to radio sales, and then started our own radio station, and now we're doing the radio, and then we're doing the comedy club as well. So it's a lot going on in the world of Jamie Roberts. It's a
So,
lot
what's the
going
name of
on.
your radio station?
108 Soul, the Soul of New York. It's
All right. And,
R&B and classic hip hop.
oh, cool. You just worked your way into my heart, just right there.
With the music selection.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, turn us
yeah.
on. You ain't gonna turn us off. I tell you that. It's not everything you're gonna hear on the radio. We play that good music. Those Rick James, those Isley Brothers, the Mary J. Those
Mhm.
songs. Those songs that they don't play. You know what I mean? We play. Man, First Choice, Ladies of Sky, all of it. You know what I mean? All of
Mhm.
it. If you're talking about Warren Moon, I know you're talking about. I know you hear the music I'm talking about right now.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I
That
mean?
kind that
So
music make you shut your eyes.
yeah, and bring it back. It brings you back to a place in time. A good place, a good memory, and
Hmm.
and it's not the everyday songs you'll hear on regular radio. And that was one of the reasons why we became so popular, especially during the pandemic, because we weren't playing all the music everyone else was playing. You know,
Hmm.
um, and from that little bit of mustard seed that we planted, now we're up to about 350,000 listeners a month. So it's
Oh, that's
growing.
fire.
It's growing, but we got to keep pushing. Got to
Yeah.
keep pushing.
So, what made you interested in radio?
Oh, so I kind of fell into radio
Hmm.
because my brand manager, because I was doing comedy full time, and my
Hmm.
brand manager, she pulled me aside. Well, she called me and said, "Hey, listen, I'm not going to be able to manage you full time anymore. I'm going to have to do it part time because I'm taking on this new job at the new radio station here in New York City." And I was like, "What New York?" Oh, I thought she was playing me. Ain't no new radio station in New York City. What you talking about? She's like, "No, for real, for real. It's a new radio station. I'm going to be doing promotions for them, blah, blah, blah." So I told her, I said, "Your last job as my brand manager is to give me an interview with the radio station." And
Hmm.
she made it happen. I went in there overqualified. I was like, "Hey, I'm here for the promotions position." And the head of promotion is like, no, your resume's too, thorough for you to be working in promotions, handing out T-shirts at basketball games. You know what I mean? So she put me in touch with the sales manager at the time, and he actually went to Norfolk State, and I went to Hampton, which is a rival school. And he told me, listen, you can make a lot of money. You can learn this radio business, and I would love if you would take on the opportunity and become an AE, an account executive. So I said, all right, let me think about it. I've never done sales before. And he said, hey man, you said you're a comedian. Every time you get on stage, you're selling yourself. And when he put it to me like that, I was like, you're absolutely right. I haven't even thought about that. But to sell an actual product or something, I've never done that before. He said, no, you're selling a product on stage. You're selling yourself. So now you just have to apply those same principles to radio. And I did, and it was kind of, I wouldn't say easy for me, but the transition was more of a smoother than going from accounting to comedy, you know. But I was pretty successful at it within the first 3 to 4. After the fourth year working there, I became the sales manager for the radio station, and got to meet a lot of people. I worked with DL Hughley. He was an afternoon personality. He did afternoons for us. I met Tom Joyner. If you're down in Dallas Fort Worth, you know about Tom, the fly jock, Tom Joyner.
Oh yeah.
He used to do the morning show for us. So, I went from telling crazy jokes on stage to being in meetings with Tom Joyner and DL Hughley. And I'm like, whoa, and it's just like, it's just so surreal to me that can actually be,
Yeah. How do you make that transition from accountant to comedian?
Well, I was always doing comedy. You know what I mean? Like I was always quote unquote funny. I was never, I never thought about doing actual comedy to make money until I started seeing it in front of me. Like I grew up on Def Jam. I'm a Def Comedy Jam type of guy. So when I see a Martin Lawrence, that's my guy. A lot of people say, well, it was Richard Pryor for me. It was Bill Cosby for me. Those are the greats. Richard is the greatest to ever do it. But for me to see a Martin Lawrence actually get on stage as a host of Def Comedy Jam and see him mature as a host, and then see him project into his own television show, and then from there onto movies, and just become this blockbuster movie star just off of stand-up comedy, it kind of it put the flame to my candle. Like, yo, this is something I can really do. I can really take off with. And I was just telling that story the other night. Like, Martin Lawrence did it without In Living Color, without SNL, without Saturday Night Live. He did it on, he did it like like he did it his way, which is dope. And now he's able to do what he wants just from doing comedy.
Yeah. And Def Comedy Jam was definitely one of those platforms that really highlighted Black comedians, and it was one of those no miss shows because it was the first time we got
Something
that
like that.
many, that many Black comedians, you know, in an area that we could all have access to, because
Correct.
it was very easy for me to pop on the TV and see a Ellen DeGeneres or Jerry Seinfeld.
Or Ray
But it was,
Romano, right.
yeah, it was very seldom that I could pop on the TV unless Eddie did a movie,
Right.
like other than that, it was very seldom you could hear a Red Fox or
Correct.
Richard
Richard
Pryor when I was
Pryor.
growing up.
Right.
Yeah, we just snuck and stole my grandma's records, and that's how we got.
You get to know Richard. You get to know Red Fox.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
maybe. Yeah. And that goes to the next thing. That's why we started Comedy in Harlem, the comedy club. Because there are no Black owned comedy clubs in New York. We're the only one.
Really?
So, and when you say like you're the only Black black comedy club in New York City, it's like mind-boggling to people because it's like, why wouldn't there be another black-owned comedy club in New York City? Well, you know what? People haven't put forth the effort to make it happen, but at the same time, I'm sure there have been reasons why it was blocked. I'm sure someone else had this idea. Every idea isn't original. I'm sure there were other reasons why it was blocked, but for us to have a home where we can go and perform 7 days a week without having to wait for the quote unquote black night to get on, it's important because we all need a room. We all need a safe space where we can come and tell our jokes and be heard by our people without any judgment.
Mm-hmm.
It's needed. I mean, like this is why we do it because we need to provide that platform that is sorely missed.
Mm-hmm.
I have two
Yeah.
questions. What
Yes,
what's the name of the comedy club, and then when did it open up?
the name of the comedy club is just as simple. It's Comedy in Harlem. That's the name
Okay,
of the comedy club, Comedy in Harlem. And if you go to
nice.
comedyinharlem.com, you can get all the information there. We opened our doors. We did our first show there Labor Day weekend, and then we opened our doors on a weekly basis, October, the second weekend of October. And we've been going strong ever since. We just had, I hate to say it though, we just had a pipe bust because of the cold weather here in New York in the walls. So we had to cancel all the shows from last Thursday through yesterday, and we got everything under control now. The guys have to go back and insulate the walls to make sure those pipes don't burst again. But we're
Mm-hmm.
going to be doing our first show within a week. We're going to be doing our first show tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
So our first show back is tomorrow. We still got the guys going over there tonight to finish up the bathroom, to retile it. And we should be good, though. We should be good.
Who's headlining the show? Who's going to
Tomorrow,
be in there?
tomorrow is Wepa Comedy. This is when we have our Hispanic comedy show. So they come in. It's my man Laz who hosts. We got Aldo. We have a man John. Eduardo. He's the producer of the show. Product of Evolution is the name of his company, and they
Mm-hmm.
produce Wepa Comedy, which is highlighting the hottest Hispanic comedians. So
Oh, okay.
so
That's
and
dope.
where we're located, we're in Spanish Harlem. Our club is 117th and Pleasant, which is El Barrio here in New York City. That's what we call Spanish Harlem. So it only makes sense to have a Latino show, a Hispanic show.
I have a
That's
few
pretty dope.
questions. I have a few questions here, Jamie, regarding
Mm-hmm.
that because I've seen some friends like open up restaurants and do other things during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the challenges doing that? And then I just point blank, like, why do it during this time period? You know?
Well, all right. So let me go. Let me start with why do it during this time period because during the pandemic, clubs were still open. Comedy clubs found a way to stay open. Whether it was shows on top of roofs, whether it was outside venues, but these clubs, and then when they put in, the 25% capacity, that was cool. But where we perform, as far as black comedians, are usually bars and lounges in and around the city, and those places were not able to open. So we didn't have a place to perform unless we were doing a spot here or a spot there at a specific club. And that's when it got to a point where we need our own. We have to have our own. If we don't have our own, we won't be able to move forward. And that piqued the interest of me, my wife, who's part owner as well, and another partner to say, hey, how can we make this happen? And why you were asking some of the challenges. Some of the challenges is that we have to remember that we are a business and we're not just a hangout spot. People think, oh yeah, it's a black owned comedy club. I could come in there and patronize it like I would do somebody's house or somebody's apartment. No, you need to come in here and spend money just like you would spend money at the other comedy clubs. You just don't come in here and be a bump on a log. We need you to come in and be part of our commerce. We're providing a service, pay for the ticket, buy a drink, whatever it is, but at least do something. Tell people about us. That's the best thing you can do is tell a friend about a comedy club that you enjoyed. If you didn't enjoy it, don't tell anybody about it. But if you enjoyed it, for sure, tell somebody about us. But the challenge is now that, with COVID still spiking, now the numbers are starting to come down here in New York City, is getting people out again, getting people more comfortable with coming out and actually enjoying themselves. Because at a time it was such a taboo thing to be outside. Like, you're going outside, check the mail. Oh my God, put on a mask, put on a glove, a hazardous suit. You know what I mean? It was like, no way, don't do it. And then it was like, all right, you got your vaccines. Yeah, you can go out, show your card. You can get into the club. You don't got to wear a mask in a restaurant. Great. And then, oh my God, the Delta variant is out. Oh my God, Omarion, as they call it, Omicron variant came out. And so now we got to put our mask back on. You got to get a booster shot. We shutting it down. You know what I mean? And so now with the differences in the mindset of, especially of New Yorkers, is like, I'm going to just chill until this thing blow over. You know what I mean? I'm not going to go anywhere until I can figure out if it's safe to come outside. Because I'm not trying to get sick in nobody's club. I'm not trying to get, coughed on or nothing like that. But we ride the subway every day, and that's the dirtiest thing in the world. You know what I mean? I'd rather never mind. So yeah.
No, he said never mind. Yeah, I had a friend of mine. She was just saying, "How come you're not coming outside?" And I'm like, "Nah, I'm not gonna be able to do. You just got the booster shot." I'm like, "Nah." That's why I asked. It's not a discouragement or thing. I mean, I admire, you doing what you're doing. It's
and we've
admirable.
had some sold out shows. You know what I mean? So, we've had some pretty good shows. And not to take anything away from people, who feel a type of way about not coming out. You know what I mean? Because safety first, as always, safety first. But there's people who still want to come out. Broadway was open. Broadway's open now.
Yes.
For that same particular reason.
For like a week or so. Could you?
Right.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you. Finish, Damon.
No problem. Go ahead. You're good.
I want to ask: is there a way to do it? Like what do you call it? A hybrid? Is that the word? Is there a way to do a hybrid where, all right, those who want to come can come, and then we can also send it virtually, the link to a handful of people, maybe at a discounted rate, maybe at the same rate, because that would be dope.
Yeah, we thought about that too. The only thing is that, like, we would have to clear that with the comedians as well, because some people don't like their act videotaped. You know what I mean?
And you would have no control.
Oh yeah.
You have no control of who's doing what at home. And so the acts just have to understand, hey, listen, this is going to be live streamed as well. Sign off on your disclosure. We're not going to get paid anything extra because of it, but just to let you know that's what's going on, to capture the audience at home as well.
Because I feel like that's something I would definitely want to do.
Yeah,
Friday, Saturday night, and just what I'm saying.
And the thing about it, I've done those virtual shows via Zoom, and it's been 80 people on a Zoom. Like, because all you got to do is this. All you got to do is pick up your phone.
And you still get decent pay. You still get like a decent pay for yourself, or less.
When we first started doing the Zoom shows, we were doing them for free just because we needed a stage and talk to folks. Mm-hmm. And then we would put like our Cash App handle at the bottom. Hey, if you like that comedian, this Cash App is blah blah blah. Bless them with something. You know what I mean? Give them something. Send them $5, and depending on how many people want to call, the comedian could walk away with maybe $200 for their set, just from their living room. I'm like, wow, I didn't have to leave the comfort of our house. And then people started getting lazy, started doing the Zoom shows. Like, yeah, I don't got to go anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. I'm doing it right here. But there's no real substitute for the interaction of a live crowd. There's no substitute for that. So,
and that energy,
because sometimes it depends on the show. Everyone mic is muted, so you could just see, you just see smiling faces and nodding heads, but and then sometimes you have shows where the mics are not muted and you can hear the laughter. Mm-hmm. So it all depends, but those shows ran its time, I believe, because there are people who would rather be outside at a show. And to tell you the truth, man, I've had people. I hate to say this, man, but I've been doing comedy 20 years, right? So I've had people say, yeah, I'm coming to a show. They haven't been to a show yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I actually was doing Zoom shows and they still didn't make the damn show. So I mean, like, if you can't pull out your pocket to see me perform, I'm not talking to you no more. You know what I mean? Like, it's that
Yeah.
simple. It's that simple. Unless you was at work or something, but there's always an excuse for why they can't make a show. But yeah, you're absolutely
Non-supporters.
right. You're absolutely right. Those, those Zoom shows or those live stream links do serve a purpose.
Mm-hmm. So,
Mm-hmm.
what are the pros and cons of being a business owner versus just being the talent?
Oh, there's expenses. That's the biggest con right there. That's the expense. You know what I mean? The thing about it, what people don't understand is that if you're running a business, right, and you have employees, the employees don't care how many people came through the door. They want their money. I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing my job. I need to get paid for my job, right? If you went to work today and you punched in, you punched out, the end of the week, your employer is like, hey man, well, we only had, so I can only give you.
You're
Like, nah, that wasn't
hilarious.
the agreement. That wasn't the agreement. What are you talking about?
I gave you my hours. I want my money.
Right. Say no Wimpy and Popeye, hey, give me a hamburger today. I'll gladly pay you no, that's not happening. So you have to really understand that when you're a business, you have to operate as such. So you have to have the reserve in place for when the shows get canceled. You have to
Mm-hmm.
have, the reserves in place when the show or the showroom is light. And you have to make the executive decisions. Hey, we only got 8 tickets sold. Does it make sense to do this show?
Mm-hmm.
Are we willing to take an L just to take an L?
Yeah.
Because every show has its own P&L. It's profit and loss statement. So I'm talking accounting now. So every
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
show,
was like P&L.
right,
Like,
profit and
I
loss
got
statement.
it right
So
off.
it's like, how profitable was this night for us to do?
no, but they're
Mm.
definitely pros though, because they have to be
Oh,
pros, or else you wouldn't do it. Yeah.
the pros to it is being able to, how can I expand my brand. So now I'm a
Mm-hmm.
comedian, right? I'm a comedian. People know me from comedy. People know me from hosting events. But now I'm also a business. I was a business as a comedian, but I'm also a business owner now of a comedy club that can actually propel me to the next level in my career, which is production. So we can produce shows right in our space. There's nothing
Mm-hmm.
stopping us. The biggest thing that we had was the pushback from comedy club owners of what night we can have and what we can do in their space. Now
Mm-hmm.
we
Boom.
own that.
That part.
Now we own it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
the biggest block is our hesitation or our, what is it called? Procrastination of getting it done. We have
Or people
we
not wanting to take the risk to go into
right,
their own business.
right. The risk is always going to be, what if? What if I come up on the short end of the stick, right? What if I don't make the money I need to make to stay open, to keep doors open? What if I fail? Right? What if I fail? Man, what if I fail at this? You know how many people failed in life? The biggest what if is,
Successful folks have failed
right.
many times.
The biggest what if is, what if I don't do this? Where will I be?
Will I have
That's the
regrets?
biggest, yeah, that's the biggest what if. What if I don't do it? Oh man. How am I losing a part of me? Is there a void not being filled? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of comedians have personally reached out and told me how important the club is. Because
Mm-hmm.
it's needed. When I keep saying it's needed, there's stuff that people want, right? You want a nice car. You want a nice house. You don't need a nice car. You don't need a nice house. But guess what? Comedians need a place to perform. And when we're
Mm-hmm.
not when we're not regulars at certain places, it's harder for us to get on stage.
Mm-hmm.
People of color, people of color. I'm not just talking about, and even some, some white folks. It's hard for us to constantly have a safe space to perform at. So to say we're opening up a comedy club, yeah, it's owned by black folks. Does it highlight black comedians? Yes, because we need it. We need it. We're not getting it downtown. They may give us some spots, throw us a bone here and there. Yeah, you may see, Chappelle and Hart and those guys down at the other clubs, but that's not every night. That's
Mm-hmm.
not happening every night. And by us providing that platform for them, it's kind of like, hey man, where was this all along? If we had this when I was coming up, I would be that much more funnier. I'm going to tell you that because I would have had that much more stage time underneath my belt. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? I would have had that much more opportunity to be
Mm-hmm.
seen, that much more fellowship
Practice
with
time.
other, right? But
Flexing that muscle.
the other thing you're missing is the fellowship amongst your brothers and your sisters in the comedy world.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? Like
Iron sharpen
there's a
iron.
right, but there's a comedy community as well. So
Mm-hmm.
where do we congregate and just really enjoy one another's company without feeling ostracized? Like, why are they here? You know,
Mm-hmm.
is it Black Night tonight? No, it's Black Night every night. You know what I mean?
Let's pull out the Henny.
Right. You know what I mean? Make sure you restock that Hennessy because tonight is Black Night. So anyway. Oh, what are they drinking? Douce? Yeah, get that Douce. But still, that's why it's so important. I believe it's so important.
But wait,
And
James.
it's and let me put it like this: the comedy club is black owned, but everyone can get on the stage. I don't
Amen.
want people to believe that, oh, it's a black club, you can't get on because I'm a white man or a white woman. I'm a Hispanic woman, I'm a Hispanic man, Asian. It doesn't make a difference. We've had everything I've just mentioned on the stage already, and we've only been open since October.
Come
And
one, come all.
right, it just lets you know that comedy is universal, especially with us. But it's not always
Mm-hmm.
universal for everyone else. You know what I mean?
Damn, Jamie, you making me. I don't want to ask all these questions, SP. I'm sorry, but he's like sparking me to ask these things. Um, it's not even a question; it's a comment actually. This one right here of what you just said. They said in therapy, right? The therapeutic
Mm-hmm.
process, trust is the number one thing that you need to build, and then second is like rapport. So trust and then rapport.
Right.
They say scientifically, human behavior, when somebody has a belly full laugh, it's very hard for them not to trust you after
Right.
that.
That's
How do
true.
you think that plays psychologically with how you move, business wise and everything, with having that quote unquote skill or trick in your bag to make people laugh and put them
Well,
at ease? How does that help you
right.
navigate life?
That when you're doing business, right? Business, you want to do business with someone you trust, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want to do business with someone you trust and you respect. So the way that I navigate, especially during sales, is that I earn your trust by an icebreaker. You know what I mean? An icebreaker isn't, hey, snowing outside. No, that's anyone could say that. That's ridiculous, right? So the icebreaker is something that I noticed that you probably didn't know I noticed. About either your office or maybe a picture on the wall or something that's going to get us talking about anything else besides business. So now I've already gained your interest in what I had to say because you see that I'm paying attention to what's going on around us, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
observing what's going on in the room, whatever it is. And then I could interject comedy into it. It doesn't have to be a stand-up routine. It could just be, a comment, just so I can get a smile or a smirk, something, and then I know that you're understanding who I am. Then we could talk. Then we could talk. We get down to the numbers, get down to what we need to talk about. But it is about building trust, and it also is about, putting someone at ease before you go and talk business with them.
Mm-hmm.
Because the worst part, the worst meanings are, hey man, I only got 5 minutes. Go ahead, give it to me. No, don't rush me. You know what I mean? What not a prostitute? What's going on here? You know what I mean? Let's if you don't got more than 5 minutes for me right now, let's wait until you do. Because I don't want to be rushed into getting into a sales pitch that I'm going to be asking you for real money about. You know what I mean? Because there's no
Mm-hmm.
connection. There's no
Yeah.
connection. It just becomes a sales pitch. I don't know who you are. Maybe I don't even want to work with you. You know what I mean? So I need to know who I'm working with before it's just a pitch or whatever it is. Same thing with producers. You know, with TV shows and stuff like that. You want to know who your producers are because you have to build that rapport with them, and you're going to have to work with them. That's why
Mm-hmm.
a lot of actors they don't take certain projects unless so and so is producing it, or if they know this producer, or if they have a sit down with the producer, a meet and greet. But you know, those are the little things.
Mm-hmm.
This is my last one here, Jamie. Then I
Lies,
gotta let
lies,
this. Yeah,
lies. Keep
no,
lying.
no, this is my last one. I do because
Full
I
of
want to. I have one here that is. I'm gonna ask something naive because I don't know, so that's what I'm gonna
Mhm.
ask. When you say black-owned comedy club, you're talking about like in recent years, right? Because I'm assuming back in the Harlem days or whatever, people
Yeah,
owned
Uptown Comedy
black
Club back in
people.
the day.
Okay, so it's been a while though. There's been like a
Right.
drought, and you're saying that you're one of the first ones now. And I don't know how long
Correct.
do you think it is since there's been
Uptown
one?
Comedy was late '80s, early '90s.
Okay, got it. All right,
But
so that was my
but the
question.
thing about Uptown Comedy Club, they were only open one night a week. They were open
mm-hmm.
Sundays. Um, oh boy, I'm gonna have to take off the headset and charge this phone. So they were
Okay.
open. They were open Sundays.
And
Can
they
you
were
hear me?
like renting somebody else's spot. They were like renting
Yeah.
another place. It wasn't their own thing. It was just okay. We have this night here, and we
Uh,
pay for that. Okay.
but yeah,
Repeat what you were saying.
they were only open one night a week. So, with us, it's 7 days a week if we have shows 7 days, and we're moving. That's the way it has to be. It has to be ran like a comedy club. You there?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Y'all, y'all,
Uh,
y'all go on and off camera on me. You be
yeah,
telling me,
my cup is bigger than my face.
oh, you need to get a straw then, girl. What's wrong
Yeah,
with
but you're allowed to drink it. It don't matter.
you? You
They're our
drinking out of a
sponsor. They're
barrel?
our sponsor, SP. Yeah, she drinking out of it. Yeah,
She
they're our
drinking out of
sponsor,
a
SP.
she drinking out of a barrel. Yeah. I know everything is bigger in Texas, but Jesus Christ, what's going on?
Big gulp.
It's the only way I can make sure I drink a gallon of water.
You drink it out
So
of the gallon itself?
I drink three. I drink.
You
I
must live
drink
by yourself,
four of
man.
these. Four of these a day is a gallon.
Why she drinking out of flower pot?
And she
All right.
hasn't even had to get up to use the bathroom. I can't believe that.
Nah, she
You
peed
got
right
strong
into the cup.
control.
I am a nurse.
She
We
peed right
never
into
pee.
the empty container. You see how big that thing is?
The barrel.
I am a nurse. We never pee.
That's right. They're always on their feet.
Um.
So
So
what else you got for me?
what was the turning point in your life that actually made you want to um do comedy professionally for a living?
The turning point. Well, the first time I got on stage, let me go to that. My brother dared me to do it because we went to a comedy club and I was like, that guy's not funny. He was like, I dare you to get up there and do it. So that was the first time I got on stage. Entered the competition. I ended up winning as the funniest person from Long Island. It was a competition
Mm,
at Stand Up New York. And then I became like the house Negro, as I would like to call myself, over there. So every time they needed a black guy, they called Jamie Roberts. Hey, yeah, let's get a young black guy on the show. And then I noticed, that I was being used. So I said, the hell with you guys. I'm going downtown to the black rooms and start seeing like the talents and the Will Savinces and, the Rudy Rushes and, the Patrice O'Neills, those guys actually putting in the work on stage and just started learning from them. And then I learned the business of comedy, I would say, from talent because I was doing a show, a room rather, and he was
mm-hmm.
telling me that never put all your eggs in one basket as far as where you make your money because that can be taken away from you at a moment's time. You know, the owner of the club could say, "Hey, Jamie, thanks. but we're gonna go in another direction for this night, and that has happened before. So you wanna make sure that you're able to first of all entertain any crowd, not just a black crowd. Be able to entertain any crowd that's in front of you, and also learn the business of comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Comedy is show business, so part of it is the show, the other half is the business, and you have to learn that part. Which speaks to building your brand and having a price for your brand. That those are the things that are important.
Yeah. You mentioned Patrice O'Neill,
Hmm.
and I love Patrice O'Neill.
A lot of people do. Rest in peace.
Yeah. How just as a fan for how was it being around him in a comedy setting?
Well, I'm going to be 1,000% honest with you. I didn't hang around with Patrice O'Neill. I'm going to tell you that. I was around him.
Yeah.
And I would say the funny
He
thing about
wasn't
Patrice,
around me.
huh? Yeah,
He
exactly.
wasn't around me. You're
Right,
funny.
right. I was around him. He wasn't around me, meaning, I was a fly on the wall, just observing.
Mm-hmm.
But he would say what's up. He knew I was a comic. But the funny thing about Patrice is that you were never safe. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you can get on stage and you were talking about bombing, and he'd be like, "Ah, man, get this guy on stage. He's wasting people's time." And he would be saying this from the back of the room, but it would be so true and so hilarious that you had you had to acknowledge it. You know what I mean? Get this guy, man. Come on, man. Next, he'll do shit like that, and it was, it was straight up no chaser. Like, come on, man. It's people out here who's really pursuing this, and you're out here wasting people's time. What are you doing? Go back to your open mics. We don't got time for you. People paid. You know what I mean? Man, it was just straight with no chaser. But the beauty about Patrice is that I don't think he was ever doing it to be disrespectful. He was doing it more to honor the craft of comedy, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, anyone can call themselves a comedian, which is like crazy to me. You know what I mean? Like, you should have to put in a certain amount of hours on stage, doing a certain amount of shows, uh, be booked a certain amount of times before you could give yourself that crown, that title, you
Mm-hmm.
know? Because it takes a lot to become a comedian and to find your voice and to be able to entertain folks. Just because you're
Mm-hmm.
on stage telling dingaling jokes, that don't make you funny. You know what I mean? That doesn't make you a comedian. And people call themselves a comedian after two or three shows. And I think Patrice's whole thing was, you got to honor the craft. Get this
Mm-hmm.
guy off stage until he's ready. Basically is what he's saying. You know what I mean? This guy sucks. And yeah, he probably did suck. And he probably had 10 friends who told him he was hilarious. Guess what? They lied to him. You know what I mean? And they're laughing front row because they're
Mm-hmm.
cheering this guy on. I'm like, no, he stinks. Get him out of here. It's just like, you have to learn. You don't go from walking to riding a mountain bike. You got to get on your yeah. You got to walk. First, you got to crawl. You got to walk. You got to get your training wheels. Get your three
Mm-hmm.
wheeler. Then you get on your dirt bike, and then you you get to your 10 speed. I don't even know if they make 10 speeds anymore. But you throw me off with that Warren Moon comment. So now everything is old in my head. So it's like you get your 10 speed and then you get your mountain bike. You know what I mean? So it's a progress to it. It's a process to it.
Yeah.
But in the world of comedy, you've done two shows and you're a comedian all of a sudden. Like, wait a minute. I've been doing this far longer than you. So how are you and I sharing the same title? You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Um.
that it's funny like that. It's funny like
Yeah.
that.
You speaking of bombing, the most hilarious bomb I've ever seen was Bill Burr had a
Oh, in
Philly
Philly.
rant.
Yeah, when he was in Philly, yeah. They told him how they idolized fake person. You guys are cheering for Rocky. He's not even real. Yeah, that was man. You know what though? That rant helped Bill Burr become who he is. It
Yeah.
helped develop him into the comedian that who he is because that's who he is. He'll go on the rant. The hell with this crazy nonsense. And his comedy was born out of that rant on Philly. But that goes to show you that what he was doing on stage wasn't him. You know what I mean? For that particular show, it wasn't him, and he wasn't connecting, and he felt it, and he said, "You know what? I'm just going to lay it out there. I'm going to let these people know how I feel, whether they like it or not." And it was hilarious. That wasn't a bomb. That wasn't a bomb at all. That right there was a lesson. That was a lesson to comedians to let you know, hey, man, you could be doing your best on stage. You believe you're doing your best on stage, and the people in front of you are pan-faced. They're not caring what you got to say. But guess what? Give them all you got and don't care. And he's like, hey, it's probably my last time I'm going to be here, so who gives a You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
And that's how you feel. Let me tell you something. When we're on stage, it's such a relief to really get off what we have on our chest. If you want to hear it or not, right? But for some reason, Bill had a lot more on his chest that day than normal. You know what I mean? Than any normal day. And he let the city of Philly have it. I mean, from everything. When he started saying, you guys idolize a fake person. And the thing about it just wasn't F-bombs and your mother F this. It was factual, funny stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because when you start speaking facts, it strikes a nerve. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, oh, how dare he? But it was so hilarious because it was true. Like, you guys idolizing Rocky? What is wrong with you? It's a movie.
And Joe Frazier lives here, but he's black, so you can't handle it.
You can't handle that. You can't handle that. And he's a Boston guy. So, I mean, he grew up in one of the most racist places in the United States. So, he gets it. You know what I mean? And Bill used to come down to the Boston Comedy Club and perform. He still does the Patrice ONeill, what is it called? The Patrice ONeill tributes. They just had, what is it called? Not the tribute, but anyway, I forgot what it's called. But they just had one yesterday, I believe. So, but yeah, those type of rants, that's really, that's gut wrenching rant. Like, I'm gonna let this people know how I feel, whether you like it or not. He should have just dropped the mic when he left. That would have been classic. You know what I mean? So
I take the base of this mic stand and throw it out and hit a baby in the top of the head. Maybe they'll go to college.
Right.
I was like,
the city of Philadelphia is it's so crazy, man. Like even the Eagles fans, you know what I mean? They got a jail underneath the stadium because of how wild the Eagles fans are. You know what I mean? Like themselves. Like who does that? Because they get out of hand. So, but anyway, if you haven't looked it up, Google it. Go to YouTube. I'm sure it's got a gazillion views on YouTube by now. So, but yeah, and he has a great comedy career from it. He's done some amazing things on TV as well.
When you find it, because one thing about that show, I think he said it was like 8 hours. It was an 8-hour show with a bunch of comedians.
He was laughing.
And
oh God.
Now it's fun.
Are you doing me? Are you putting your finger on this over the speaker when you talk?
No, I'm not. Not that I know of.
I do that a lot. He's like, I can't hear you. I was like, I don't know why you can't hear me. And I got the speaker covered with my thumb because I'm holding the phone.
Oh, no, that's not me at all. I'm sorry.
Now you sound all right. He sounds all right now.
Yeah, you sound good now.
The phone is just cheap. All right. So
how do you what are some of the techniques you use when the crowd is unruly and maybe not accepting your comedy the way you want them to accept it.
And you're bombing.
All right. Thanks for having me. Have a good night, y'all. Talk to y'all later. See you. I'll let them know straight up. They don't pay me enough to handle this nonsense. Listen, you're either going to listen or you're not. And you know, it all depends on the room. It all depends on the room and how it's set up. You know, sometimes the room is set up to lose. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And once you've done the room one time, you're like, I'm not going back there. There's no reason to go back there. I already know it's a bomb waiting to happen. You know what I mean? Why go back? But you want to go back because you want to conquer the room, right? So
Mhm.
you go back and you do it. But how do I handle bombing? It all depends. Like if it was a joke that they didn't like, or if it's people not paying attention, then I'll let them know I see you're not paying attention to me. What's going. I will call you out. I will call you out. The show won't be about me anymore. It'll be about you, and I have no problem doing that. If I'm bombing and the material is horrible, then I'll just start doing crowd work.
Mhm.
Hey, maybe you guys didn't want to come here for jokes. Maybe you want me to talk to you directly. You know what I mean? I'll start doing that. But it's all different techniques that you want to do. Usually, as a professional comedian, as a seasoned comedian, you have a go-to joke that you know is going to work. But you got to set up the go-to joke properly because even your go-to joke can bomb. You know what I mean? You
Mhm.
got to get people engaged before you do your magic trick. You can't just do a magic trick and no one saw the magic trick because now no one saw it. It's no good. So you got to get people on board with you before you do your good joke. And once you do your good joke,
Mhm.
hopefully that'll win them back over to paying attention. And then you just pick up your momentum from there. You know what I mean? So,
Mhm.
there's certain jokes that comedians have that know it's going to work. There's certain things that you say or you address. Um, if you're going up after somebody who just bombed, I reintroduce myself sometimes. Even after the host introduces me, like, hey, listen, just to let y'all know, my name is Jamie Robbins. I don't know what you thought about the other comedians, but y'all need to pay attention to what the hell I got to say because I'm
Mhm.
you try to differentiate yourself from the last bomb that just happened on stage or prior. Because you don't want them to think, oh, here goes another guy who's going to come up here and stink it up. Nope, that ain't me. No, you're going to pay attention, goddamn. So,
This show is called Powerful Impact.
mhm.
So, can you name three people in your life, personally or professionally, that made a powerful impact in your life?
Personally, I would say my mom, because she always say, go after your dreams. Uh,
Mhm.
Professionally, I would say Talent, who's a comedian, uh,
Mhm.
and also Jonathan Mason, who was the guy who hired me in sales. It was my first
Cool.
job. And the reason why I say Jonathan Mason because working in radio, I was able to expand my comedy career because of the
Mhm.
connections that I made and just being around different people, a higher level of comedy. Like I got a chance to meet Arsenio Hall, which is like, whoa, you know what I mean? Simi, you know what I mean? It's like, whoa,
Mhm.
crazy. Tom Joyner, a fly job, D.L. Hughley, one of the kings of comedy, Ced the Entertainer, Jamie
Mhm.
Foxx, it's just the list goes on and on just from, comedy and radio, you know? So I have to thank a person like a Jonathan Mason for giving me the opportunity to come on just to do sales, but to also not limit me to just sales and understand, hey, this guy does comedy. You know,
Mhm.
this could be a great in for you, and explore, fly, young man, fly. So that's what I did.
And what do you want your legacy to be?
Oh wow, I want my legacy to be something that my kids are proud of, that my family's proud of, and my friends are proud of. But I know when I leave here, hopefully no time soon. But when I leave here, people will say, that man, Jamie Roberts, helped others. He helped
Yeah.
others get to the next level. Um, and it just doesn't have to be about stage time. It could be about advice. It could be financially. I helped,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
and we should all be able to help in some way, somehow. whether it's lending your time, as far as charity is concerned, because I do a lot of charity as well with my lodge. But it's just I want people to understand that helping others is only going to help yourself. You are a product of what you put out. So if you're putting out good energy, you're only going to get good energy back. And real talk, my life completely changed when I cut off the negative energy out of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I started concentrating on the better things in life. And I didn't even
Yeah.
have to go to therapy for that.
And the last thing, is there anything you want to promote? Any shows that you have
Well,
coming up? Where to get the
yeah,
tickets?
hell yeah, hell yeah. So we got Comedy in Harlem, which is the only black comedy club in New York City. We hold about 90 people seated. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's great space to see some great acts. I'm going to be in Boston on the Love is a Joke tour with my wife, Nikki Sunshine, Max Cohen, and Vicky Cooperman up at Laugh Boston for Valentine's Day weekend. The last time we were there, we sold it out 2 shows. That was pre-pandemic. And so, we're excited to go back to them. I'm going to be in the Hamptons and Sag Harbor in the following week at the Sag Harbor Theater with my man Joseph Vesey, who's a writer with, oh man, I don't forgot the guy's name, Adam Sandler. He does a lot of work with Adam Sandler.
Mm-hmm.
So, a couple things coming up. But if you want to know, go to jamierobbins.com, and you can also catch me at comedyinharlem.com as well.
And we'll be putting everything in the description. I know you got to run, so thank
Yeah.
you so much for
Thank you for
coming
having me.
on.
Thank you for
Please
having
come
me.
back again because
Yeah.
this was so wonderful, and I think people really need to see our 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 people moving the way you're moving. So we really appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. This was great. Thank you so much. You guys enjoy your night.
All right,
Thank you,
you too.
Jamie.
All right.
Appreciate you.
All
All
right,
right.
Powerful
this has been
impact.
Powerful Impact.
Boom.
Powerful impact. Boom like a cannon.
Definitely. Peace, Jamie.